Neutral. Neutral. Get you up.
So for the first time in nearly 3 years of having this truck, I finally got to drive our 1974 Ford Highboy, and it was an absolute blast. But the journey to get there was a little interesting, to say the least. In previous videos on this truck, you've seen us pull it out of the woods, get it trailered home, and then get it cleaned up inside and out. We restored the fuel system and got all the mouse tune wiring in the ignition circuit replaced, and then with just a carburetor kit and some fresh gas, it actually fired right up. But it was running super lean and we couldn't get it to stay running until last episode when we started plugging all the vacuum systems we could think of and figured out it had an issue with the PCV circuit. So plugging the PCV seemed to eliminate a significant source of vacuum leak because the truck runs significantly better now. It's the only real major improvement we've seen from all the different things we've tried. But it's still not all better, and we know there's something messed up with the brake system because when you put your foot on the brake pedal and depress it, the idle smooths out. And then when you let up on the pedal, it gets rough again. So what we're doing today is we're replacing some brake components, including the master cylinder and the vacuum booster. So that's what we're doing today, is jumping into some brake system repairs. So let's do it. Replacing these two components sounded easy enough. They're right there, easy to get to in the engine compartment, but it turned out to be a little more involved than we had anticipated.
Doesn't quite go. Spacing isn't quite the same to fit these, so we're going to file these down just a little bit.
So we came to a halt installing the new brake system because the new boot that came with it that goes on the brake rod from the master cylinder to the brake pedal, the new one wasn't going to work out right to seal between the brake system and the firewall in the engine compartment. So we had to figure out a way to fabricate something to take up the slack because basically it wasn't long enough, so it didn't really seal up at all. So we've come up with a solution involving some PVC, one diameter that fits perfectly into the hole through the firewall, and another one that will glue on the outside to prevent it from sliding through and to hold it securely. I'm going to interrupt real quick here because I know it sounds like I just misspoke, but we're talking about two different things. The PCV is the positive crankcase ventilator, and that's a vacuum operated system in the engine. PVC stands for polyvinyl chloride, and that's a type of plastic pipe. Okay, back to the video. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to glue it up and then stick it on the truck. So after all that fiddling with the PVC, we have decided to actually scrap that because it was having difficulty fitting into the hole once we actually got the brake assembly up there. It actually needs to be offset down slightly, it appears, compared to the actual position of the brake rod. So that is a little bit frustrating, but what we're going to do instead is something maybe we should have tried before, and that is cutting down the original boot and seeing if it'll fit over the boot that came with the new vacuum booster and seeing if that works out for us. This is all kind of part of the journey of working on vehicles and, you know, having projects. Stuff happens that you don't really necessarily enjoy or didn't plan on, and you can get upset about it like I was last week, or you can kind of accept it as kind of how it works. It's part of the journey. So that's what we're trying to do now, and we'll see if this attempt works. So with our final solution for the boot in place, a little paint to keep the whole assembly from rusting, and some plumber's putty to keep that boot sealed to the firewall, we are finally installing the new master cylinder and vacuum booster in the 74. from that little mishap, all was going smoothly until we got to attaching the tubing, the brake lines, and the sizes are swapped. The place where the small fitting goes in is too big, and the place where the big fitting goes in is too small on the new master cylinder. So, looks like a trip to O'Reilly's is in order. So we are back from O'Reilly's, and we have the parts we need now, but not quite the way we expected. We looked over here in the box, the master cylinder came in, and yeah, the adapters were in there. So anyway, more fun times. We are now going to finally screw those in, get the lines installed, and then bleed the brake system, and while we're at it, go ahead and flush out all that old fluid that's in there. So yeah, let's do that.
So the way flares work, that taper right there matches the taper that's inside there, and you put these together and it holds those two flares together, and that's where the seal happens. The seal doesn't happen on the threads. That being said, I'm putting a little Teflon on here just to lubricate them a little bit.
And let the bleeding begin.
Dirty, yeah. Keep going. Open. That looks pretty clear to me. Yeet. Yeah.
Okay, so at long last, very, very long last, the new master cylinder and booster are in, and we have also bled out the system and flushed it and everything, so all that old grungy brake fluid from 20 years sitting in the woods is now gone. Or at least, hopefully most of it is. So we are now going to test out and see if the new vacuum booster being replaced helps with kind of the vacuum suck sound we were hearing. And we're going to replace the hose that goes to it. I'm not sure if we'll get to that today. First, we're going to start it up with that hose totally plugged and see if it runs pretty good. So let's check it out. Hang on, we got big sparks from the starter solenoid. One big spark when you started it.
No idle, but it needs a fast idle, and we've done all of that bypass counter.
Holding your foot on the gas. So, are we fixed or not? A lot of uncertainty in the camp. First thing we're going to do is replace that hose that goes to the brakes, the vacuum booster, so we can take it for a drive, whatever we want to do. Consistently, drives are a good thing with this vehicle. The new hose we have to connect from the vacuum booster to the carburetor, not quite the right size, seemingly, so I think we'll just use the hose we had. It looks like it's intact. It doesn't have any holes or anything. Maybe we can, after going for a drive, get it to where it's running without input like the last times, and then figure out things from there. I'm not quite sure. The hose is back on, so let's give this another shot. Maybe take it for a drive, just give it a good chance to warm up, see what we think. Pretty good? Is that what that was?
Yeah, it's got a lot more brake than... Is it still running?
It's hard to tell. Got brakes? Yep.
Missing something. It feels like it's got a lot more power than it did have.
Really?
Yeah. It's trying to jump off of the road. We're running out of gas.
Oh no. Can you start it?
I don't think so.
How's that possible? I didn't think we were that low. Bummer. So, fun times. In all our little jaunts up to the park, we've never run out of gas, believe it or not. Alright, Operation Gas Refill was a success.
So before, there was a difference between foot on the brake and foot off the brake. The idle speed would speed up or slow down. So there's foot on the brake, and that's foot off the brake. So that's way better, and the brakes work now.
Whoa!
So yeah, we've made progress there, but it still runs terrible.
I've never heard it go by. It went by, I was like, man, that thing sounds horrible. It's not a good idle.
No,
but your foot's off the gas. Can we fix it with timing now?
Let's put it away and get cleaned up.
Really? What time is it? I want to drive it.
Oh, you can.
So, first time in 3 years, I think I'm actually going to get to drive the 74. This is pretty exciting. It's running okay. We'll see if we make it. Survive. Oh! Okay. Alright, anything special to know? Push on the gas and it kind of works.
Neutral? Neutral. Get you other. Okay.
There's nothing special to know.
Well, don't do whatever it was you did. You just kind of hit it and then let go.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay.
You let go of it right away.
Yes, sir. That was cool. Dream come true. I'm pretty happy with those results. I got to drive the thing, so that's real progress. How do you feel about the progress we made, like, mechanically, though?
Oh yeah, definite progress. The brake system needed to be bleeded and flushed. Now probably just need new shoes, or you know, adjust the brakes anyway, because the pedal goes down, but it's consistent and it stops nice. So we made progress there, and there's no change in the idle when you push the pedal or not. So yeah, we win there, but the carburetor still has some issues. So
It runs pretty horrible by running standards, but
it keeps idling.
it's running. Yeah. So what's next? This thing now runs and idles at a reasonable speed consistently. It stays running. Of course, there are some little electrical things and some big electrical things to figure out on here, but probably the thing we need to tie into next is figuring out why this thing runs horribly when you're going down the road. Missing and surging and carrying on. We're not really sure what that's about because it really idles pretty smoothly. Could be timing, could be a number of things. We may still have some vacuum leaks, but our major ones seem to be better because now this thing runs without having to keep your foot on the gas. But mission successful for this episode. The brake system is working good now, new master cylinder, new vacuum booster, so we are in a pretty good shape as far as bringing this vehicle to a stop when we need to. Whoa! But that is far from the last of our issues on the 74 Highboy. So stay tuned for next time, guys. We'll be tearing into whatever comes next. See you guys next time.